Sure thing, Detective Williams. Some follow-up questions. I'll answer what I can. Not really much I can tell you about the case you're working on. Well, it was a few days ago. Our security cameras, yeah, they do a good job of keeping an eye on the property. Well, I've been working security here for about a decade. Well, sure, it's boring, especially working the graveyard shift. No pun intended, considering there's a graveyard literally across the street from the west wall, but, you know, they pay well. Can't complain. The best part is I don't have to deal with people and their stupidity and their nonsense. Although coming here tonight, yeah, thanks to some semi-truck driver who didn't know the height of his truck, oh yeah, caused tons of traffic on the expressway. Thankfully, it happened at night, so it could have been a lot worse, but yeah. I don't think any of the drivers enjoyed taking their cars across the median just to be able to go where they needed to. But yeah, it's a pretty good job, I guess. It gets boring, but sad to say you get used to it. Well, like I said, we do have a gate over by the west wall, and there is a camera pointed there. And we can raise and lower the camera that's attached to the building. And it just so happens that it pans across the cemetery. Well, they had that unfortunate incident a while back, so they came to us, and yeah, we were able to provide you guys with the video evidence. So the case you're working on, well, it's been about a month now. Yeah, I noticed a guy digging in the graveyard, and that definitely seemed odd, out of place. That's normally not the sort of thing that happens, not during my shift. And I noticed he was wearing a headlamp also. Yeah, that's not standard. The actual grave diggers at the cemetery, they bring in construction lights. Yeah, the ones that are on those skinny, short posts, and they just raise them up higher and they turn on the lights and they get to work. And there's usually like 3 guys. 2 of them dig, 1 rests, and then they just alternate until they get the job done. But like I said, they don't dig at night, ever. It seemed suspicious, so I called it in, even though, I mean, let's be honest, Detective, the graveyard is not part of my jurisdiction. Security, we don't enforce the law, we just enforce rules. Well, I didn't realize what really went on. And the guy who had a heart attack, I'm sure you asked the staff that works there, the grave diggers. Yeah, it's not like the movies. It's not like you can just dig a 6-foot grave and do it by yourself in about an hour or so. No. This guy, yeah, the way he was digging, he was in a rush. He didn't take a break. The entire time I watched him, he didn't even stop to rest or drink some water. Well, it's not as though he was digging a new grave, but that doesn't matter. He was definitely digging down to the casket, but I didn't know that at the time. I thought it was a new grave. And, yeah, he got less than halfway down, had a major heart attack, and died right there and fell in. That's when I made the second call. And instead of calling the local PD, I called 911. Well, gossip, rumor, innuendo. No offense, just between us, detective, that female partner of yours really likes to, well, she's got a pair of loose lips on her. Like I said, no offense. But yeah, she clued me in on a few things. I think I know what you're looking for. A motive. Well, I think I've got that for you. Yeah. See this? Tiny little silver horseshoe on a braided cord. Yeah. This is what the little girl lost when she came in here. That was about 2 months ago. Little girl came in here lost, crying, couldn't find her mommy. I told her to sit tight and I took care of things. I noticed this was attached to her zipper pull on her coat, so thankfully she wasn't freezing. And I guess I didn't notice, but when she left, she didn't have this on her. I mean, yeah, I didn't think much of it at the time. I actually found it on the floor after she left. Well, children do take pride in weird things, so I put this in the desk. Yeah. I think this is your motivation, detective. Here you go. Yeah. That's genuine silver. Well, no. My father was a jeweler, so I learned a few things from him. Unfortunately, yeah, these hands aren't exactly ideal for creating small pieces of jewelry, even with the right equipment. I mean, I can swap out a watch battery. That's about it. But yeah, my dad was a jeweler, and that's definitely silver. But as you can see, there's barely anything there, so you're probably wondering. Well, like I said, I took what your partner told me the last time you guys were here. I noticed she's not with you. What happened? Oh, vacation. Okay, yeah. Well, I sure as heck would love a vacation, detective. I don't think I've had one in 5 or 6 years. Yeah. I don't plan on dying behind that security desk, but lots of things happen we don't plan on. Anyway, yeah, like I said, the girl came in here, couldn't find her mommy. I called 911. Paramedics showed up. A couple of uniforms showed up, took her away. I found out later on that, yeah, there was a good reason why that little girl couldn't find her mommy. Yeah. Well, I mean, married couple, the wife cheats, the husband horribly overreacts. That's the end of the wife. And I guess he didn't keep an eye on his kid. I remember that night they found her dad and gave her back to him. She was so happy to see him. And then a week later, there was that car accident. I'm thinking what happened was that zipper pull must have had some sort of huge sentimental value. Father wanted it. He thought maybe the wife had it. I don't know. But, I mean, what other reason would he have to dig up his ex-wife's body? What other reason would he have? Now, maybe he didn't specifically want that item, but he wanted something of his daughter's to remember her by. Obviously, he didn't care about his wife. But I think he wanted something to remember her by. I do remember that after the little girl died, he stopped by. He stopped by here, and unfortunately, I had forgotten all about that silver horseshoe zipper pull. What can I say, detective? I'm getting old. What can I say? I forgot. Based on the questions he was asking me, it's clear that he was upset, and he let it slip that he didn't have anything to remember his daughter by. Now, I'm sorry, but it just didn't register with me at the time regarding that zipper pull. Otherwise, I would have handed it to him, and he would have left and gotten away with it, but I mean, I guess he decided that he really wanted something to remember his daughter by, so he dug up his wife's grave, hoping that there would be something in there, anything. That's what I'm guessing, detective. He got down a little bit less than halfway, had a heart attack, fell in and died. On top of his wife. Or, I guess, on top of her coffin. Yeah. It wasn't until later on that I remembered that zipper pull. Funny how things work out. If he hadn't have gone back to dig her up, you guys wouldn't have found that receipt at the laundry place. The one just above the hotel, and you wouldn't have tracked down the guy who slept with his wife, and he admitted that the husband confronted both of them. It's funny Had I remembered that zipper pull, I would have just handed it to him, he would have gone home, and that would have been the end of it. Another unsolved mystery. Funny how things work out. A detective. Well, again, have you ever tried to dig a 6-foot deep grave big enough to accommodate a casket by yourself? Oh, it's definitely not like the movies. Yeah, one person doesn't have enough strength and stamina to do that. Well, maybe if you give them a month. But no. He was in a hurry. He had a heart attack, and that's all she wrote, detective. That's all she wrote. All because he wanted something to remember his daughter by. I mean, according to your partner, the father lost his job and couldn't find one, so I guess he was afraid that if he divorced her, she'd get everything, including his daughter. Yeah. Hell of a thing. Wife cheats, ruins the marriage, and most judges nowadays, whether they're men or women, they still award custody to the mom. It's like, well, your wife cheated, but you have to be able to bring in some graphic evidence that she did horrible things to your daughter before they'll even consider giving a father custody. That's just how it is. Me? Oh, come on, detective. You've seen how sick, twisted, and perverted this world is. Do you honestly think I would bring children into this disgusting, diseased world? No. No, detective. What type of father would I be if I did that?